Open your eyes.
If you are wondering why everything going on in the world feels so terribly off, then you have come to the right place. A veil has been put over the eyes of humanity. Evil people in high places have been hiding the truth in plain sight and building a false reality on lies and deception for far too long. And now, their time is coming to an end. It's time to fight back, to wake up, and to begin an uprising. Now is a time for judgment.
This is a time for judgment. Welcome to today's show. I wanted to cover the media's continuing coverage now of humanity reaching singularity. For those of you that don't know what that means, in a nutshell, it means that technology surpasses human beings, where technology is more important than human beings and technology has developed to be smarter than human beings. Now, we could all look at it and say, well, it's not hard to be smarter than certain human beings in this world, what we're living among. I mean, we got people John Bobbiting themselves. But Popular Mechanics and other news outlets, Yahoo, cover that humanity is going to reach singularity within just 7 years, according to Trends. And how convenient, let's do the math here, 7 years from now would be the year 2030. And what's the agenda that we all know about? Oh, Agenda 2030. And yes, technology has everything to do with it. Everything to do with total human control, everything to do with humans losing jobs, humans not being able to live in this society, all being done deliberately by corporations and your governments around the world working together. So conveniently, the year 2030. I'm going to play a couple of things here for you to watch in case you're not understanding, but you'll definitely start connecting the dots again with singularity and humans and, of course, transhumanism, talking about nanotechnology getting inside of people's bodies. I have no idea how they could ever do such a thing. Wink, wink. But let's start with Elon Musk. You know, Elon Musk, who's loved now by the right because they're luring the Republicans into thinking this guy's a savior for free speech, that he actually cares about what people have to say. And, of course, they're going to need to figure out ways to seduce the population, especially the Republicans, because they failed so miserably the last round of trying to convince people to do a certain something because they politicized it. So this time, they want to make sure that both sides of the aisle are heavily promoting brain implants and other types of nanotech. But here's Elon Musk followed by a clip, and listen closely for the stuff about, DNA.
So what is the most important project or the most important topic for you to deal with in the foreseeable future? And you said that is truly the role that AI is going to play in our society. Could you explain why and why that is a big opportunity but also seems to worry you?
I think, humans have been the smartest creature on Earth for a long time, and that is going to change with what's typically called artificial general intelligence. So this is, say, an AI that is smarter than a human in every way. Could even simulate a human. This is something we should be concerned about. I think there should be government oversight of AI developments, especially super advanced AI. It's just, this is anything that is a potential danger to the public. We generally agree that this should have government oversight to ensure that the public safety is taken care of.
Because you fear that one day mankind could serve the machines and not the other way around?
Honestly, when I see people on their phones, I think we're already serving the machine. Yeah, it's like everyone's answering the questions. Every time you do a search or add information, you're sort of building this the digital group mind. The advent of artificial general intelligence is called the singularity for a reason, because just like the black hole, which is a singularity, it's difficult to predict what will happen. So it's not as though the advent of AGI is necessarily bad, but it's bad as one of the possible outcomes.
And when is singularity in the definition of Ray Kurzweil going to happen?
Well, I think you were saying he's predicting 2025. I think that's reasonably accurate.
Mm-hmm. And how can it be avoided that is then more a threat for humanity than an opportunity? Is it a question of governance, so that there is not too much power in one or in few hands? Or how would you make sure that it goes into the right direction?
I think we should have a government oversight, just like we do. We have government oversight and regulation of cars and aircraft and food and pharmaceuticals. These are all, there are regulators that oversee these developments to ensure public safety. And I think digital superintelligence would also be potentially a public safety risk. And so I think it's very important for regulators to keep an eye on that.
Who should own the data by then?
I think everyone should own their own data. Like individuals should own their data. And it certainly shouldn't be tricked by some terms and conditions of a website and suddenly you don't own your data. That's crazy. Who reads those terms and conditions anyway? So, but I think it's just, like we wouldn't let people develop a nuclear bomb in the backyard just for the hell of it, That seems crazy. So digital superintelligence, I think, has the potential to be more dangerous than a nuclear bomb. So we should somebody should be keeping an eye. We can't have the inmates running the asylum here.
In the last decades, technology made a huge outbreak. With such rapid growth, technology is supposed to replace most human work. Nowadays, we're surrounded by artificial intelligence, starting from our smartphones, smart TVs, PCs, etc. Keeping up with the innovations of these and other technologies is challenging. However, artificial intelligence is much more than our everyday gadgets. Artificial intelligence integrates computer science and big databases in order to speed up the decision-making process. It includes the branches of artificial intelligence known as deep learning and machine learning, which are commonly mentioned together. The fields use AI algorithms to build expert systems. The systems make predictions or classify information based on the received data. The capabilities of artificial intelligence are often stronger than those of human brains. With this, human intelligence will be surpassed. The idea of technological singularity goes beyond basic mechanical capabilities. It also has a time component. The singularity in technology is a likely scenario in which unrestrained and unstoppable technological innovations happen. These smart and powerful technologies will significantly change our reality in unpredictable ways. According to the technological singularity idea, this form of development will occur at an extremely fast rate. The most notable aspect of the singularity is that it will include computer programs that are so sophisticated that artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence. This can lead to possibly erasing the line that separates people from robots. One of the main technologies that are expected to bring singularity is nanotechnology. This expansion in intelligence will severely impact human civilization. These computer programs and artificial intelligence will develop into highly evolved machines with intellectual powers. Singularity may be closer than we think. Ever since many of the most successful people have warned us about this kind of future, Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, and even Bill Gates are some of them. Singularity topic faces many different opinions. Some are scared, while others think that the singularity is a positive change. As we explained, the distinction between humans and machines may eventually be erased thanks to technological singularity. Some predict that human brains will be cloned or removed, placed into robots that never die, and then the person will live forever. The idea that machines will design and program robots that will rule the planet is another popular theory. Without taking into account the externalities they cause, their activities will be focused entirely on achieving their goals. They won't be afraid to destroy people, the environment, or, most definitely, our social norms. According to a different transhumanist theory, we'll eventually reach a moment where implanting AI, biotechnology, and genetic modification into human bodies will enable a person to live forever. This has already been set for us to some extent by mechanical valves, implants, and prosthetics. However, Kurzweil sees singularity as a chance for humans to advance. He believes that humans will benefit from the same technologies that will increase the intelligence of AIs. Kurzweil states that Parkinson's patients already have computers inside of them. This is how cybernetics is just beginning to become part of our lives. He believes that in the 2030s, a device will be created that can enter your brain and enhance your memory because it is in the technology's nature to advance. So, in contrast to the singularity's vision of robots taking over the world, Kurzweil believes the future will have an exceptional human-machine synthesis. There may come a time when humanity is able to create a machine with increased artificial intelligence that is on a level with the cognitive and functional capabilities of a person. This may happen with the help of innovations built upon earlier innovations. Following this, a period of unstoppable and irreversible development may begin. The potential to bring about unimaginable changes to human civilization increases thanks to technological singularity. This might be the last invention made by humans. The outcome might be either total devastation or unimaginable prosperity. The current changes are affected by three factors. First is the progress in computing power. Every 2 years or so, the number of transistors in densely integrated circuits doubles. This improves the hardware's computational capability. Graphic processing units, GPUs, were enhanced by doubling. Due to this, parallel computing becomes more conceivable. Machines are able to identify patterns in a wide range of information thanks to this enormous computational capacity, with enhanced GPU, parallel processing, and cloud computing. The second factor that leads us closer to singularity is the availability of labeled data. All of our devices are becoming smarter in our interconnected world thanks to IoT, Internet of Things. The online world keeps track of and records our entire activity. In short, massive amounts of data are being produced by both humans and machines and are stored online. That includes information about our buying habits, tastes in music and movies, eating habits, and travel plans. We can also store various kinds of data, structured as well as unstructured data. The accessibility of cheap data storage systems and big data processing capability assists in analyzing this abundance of labeled data. Programs are trained using this data to identify instances and become better at a desired activity. The third factor is the innovative way of training a program. All of these factors are more or less connected to each other. Deep learning has made a return in the mainstream AI space. It is armed with a ton of data and plenty of computer power. Machines are now capable of learning on their own. They do this particularly through reinforcement learning, which is a subcategory of machine learning. Artificial neural networks are used to train programs to create intelligent algorithms without the need for manual coding. Today's most widely used apps are powered by machine learning. Here we can include those that let cars drive themselves and find cancer cells in X-rays, as well as many others. But what possible singularity scenarios can we expect due to these rapid technology changes? Superintelligent machines might continually develop in intelligence thanks to their powerful computer capacity and self-designing and upgrading capabilities. The biggest threat from the singularity is that it might turn against us and destroy the entire humanity. Is maybe altering the human brain another scenario provoked by singularity? We already mentioned that there are some tries and that AI already has some solutions. However, not all experts have a complete understanding of the complexity of the human brain. We have dreams and a subconscious mind. Humans also possess empathy, awareness, and rational thinking. Though they will be able to outperform humans in math, will machines be able to match us in these other human skills? We can't be quite sure of this, as singularity isn't present yet. It looks like we'll have to wait and see. Political systems may be affected and changed. This can occur due to technological singularity through changes in governmental laws and human rights. For example, those that strengthen citizen protection, forbid the use of certain technology, reduce privacy, and empower citizens to stop crime more effectively. It will also affect leadership and control. This will probably result in the government having more authority to regulate everything. This might be especially troubling if there was a dictatorship. Everything would be in the hands of the singularity. Law and order may change as well.
So again, it's not hard to see how we're getting to this point. And let's be realistic. We have the technology in place where humanity is, where computers and technology have surpassed humanity. They have it because we know that they're years and years advanced on all of this technology. It's about how they release it to the public. Because, for example, if they release to the public now that people were being, discarded by machines, that robots were taking over, it might unite humanity because humans would have one common cause. They wouldn't be arguing about what color, politics you like. Are you a Republican or a Democrat? Are you this or are you that? What's your all this nonsense that we hear, which keeps us divided, obviously being done on purpose. If people realize the capabilities they have with technology, and they should, because people are absolutely obsessed and in love with their technology. If people realize that, they could potentially unite and uprise, wink, wink, against what is coming and what is right in front of our faces right now. Now, one of the stories I talked about on my website, timeforjudgment.com, if you haven't checked it out, I definitely recommend you sign up and join. But I talked about the reforming of the police. And one of the things, that people have to realize is that a military state, right? They're convincing people of these things, that they're going to want and need these things. Think about how that ties in with technology. We know they have all these literally RoboCops. If that's not enough predictive programming, I don't know what is. But we see countries starting to implement, especially during the lockdowns, robot cops walking the streets, robot dogs, all these types of things. As they continue to desensitize people to this type of technology, the dangers of this technology cannot be emphasized enough. But think about how they have to psychologically do it. What do you see going on now? I talked about it on the website with the event that just occurred. They're convincing people that we need to reform the police. They're convincing people of all these things. And at the same time, they're dividing people at every possible corner. In the Bible, in Matthew chapter 24, verse 12 and 13, because of the multiplication of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, but the one who preserves to the end will be saved. But the love of most will grow cold. Can you not see where we're headed here? With people hating one another based off politics. These are things that never occurred 20 years ago for you, young kids out there, teens, or people in your 20s. This was not the way the politics used to go. Okay? People voted, they picked the guy that they like better. There wasn't all this hatred for one another. There wasn't all this obsession with reforming and canceling the world and canceling America and reforming America. This is all about obviously reforming a new world order. So as we start to see society grow colder, technology, which is already what? Trusted and loved. People can't, I say it all the time, people cannot live without their devices. What happens if you see somebody lose their phone? They have to get to Verizon or AT&T that day to get a replacement because they can't make it through the night with a lost phone. Some of these young kids out there, these teens that grow up on TikTok and technology, would literally put their fist through the wall if their phone broke or they lost their phone or their parents took their phone away. Okay, so we see a society that's growing cold towards humanity, but growing closer towards technology. And convenience is obviously one of the things they're using because they're conveniently creating technology that makes everything easier for people to do, right? Not just Google searches, but we have technology that you could date an avatar. I mean, the most insane stuff where they're grooming people into this tech world, this tech life. And we're already there. It's just a matter of convincing everybody of these things. Because remember, this new world order is going to come into play because people request it to come into play because they're getting tricked into false flag psyop after false flag psyop. So this article, let's look at some of the stuff in there. By one unique metric, we could approach technological singularity by the end of this decade, if not sooner, again, 2030. In the world of artificial intelligence, the idea of singularity looms large. The slippery concept describes the moment AI exceeds beyond human control and rapidly transforms society. The tricky thing about AI singularity and why it borrows terminology from black hole physics is that it's enormously difficult to predict where it begins and nearly impossible to know what's beyond this technological event horizon. Now, again, there's a lot of stuff in there. If you think about where this, nobody ever thinks like, how did people come up with this stuff? And a lot of us, who are in this circle, and I'm sure a lot of you are the same, look at things the same way that I do and read a lot of things and watch other, stuff. I'm sure you watch many other channels, not mine, just mine, about the fallen ones and the technology that the fallen ones have and how they've passed this on to generations. Now we also know about CERN and the black hole. So this has a lot to do with demons. It has a lot to do with entities. And of course, as you saw in that video clip, it's a frightening replacement of humans being replaced by robots. It's literally Terminator 2, but society's gotten so dumbed down that people don't see that, and they don't really care until it's too late, of course. So some AI researchers are on the hunt for signs of reaching singularity measured by AI progress approaching the skills and ability comparable to a human. One such metric defined and translated, a Rome-based translation company, is an AI's ability to translate speech at the accuracy of a human. Language is one of the most difficult AI challenges, but a computer that could close that gap could theoretically show signs of artificial general intelligence. And again, I've mentioned this in other videos, and I've talked about the chat GPT and how frightening that is. But humans will always be smarter than tech, and I don't care what Elon Musk says. I don't care what these things say, because human beings are always going to be able to trick it, okay? Because God made us in his image, and we're not going to be tricked by these demons. We'll be able to trick them, and we'll be able to, like scrambling the language on them, like God did with the Tower of Babel, okay? Being able to change a language. So the computer will always try to adapt and try to figure it out. But if you're constantly changing code, and you're not, giving code away by uploading, hey, on your Twitter account, hey, these are the new words that we're using to describe this, 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 and this, so the computer can learn that information. If you're staying offline and off the grid, then there's a chance to survive against this. Now, there's lots of other things that people need to start thinking about with EMPs and ways to stop this technological nightmare. But you would think maybe, and of course, when Elon Musk talks about government regulation, I mean, none of us trust the government to regulate this, of course. These people in government are absolutely, I don't even know what the right word, psychopaths. They're psychopaths, but so are the people in Silicon Valley. You've seen the video I did with the one guy talking about the little aliens. The guy keeps flagging my videos, by the way. He wants the monetization coin off the videos. That says cheap Gordy Rose, I think his name Gordy Rose. Guy's literally, it's embarrassing. But anyway, Gordy Rose was bragging about how, the little demons that they're summoning and all this stuff that they're doing with quantum computers will eventually wipe out the human race. And what do people in today's society do? Okay, yeah, oh, all right. Let me get to my phone and my TikTok. Nobody seems concerned because everybody's distracted by nonsense. And technology, again, I've talked about the transitions, even in some of these video clips I've shown you, the transitions into artificial intelligence mixing with human beings has, been desensitized through, so-and-so has an artificial leg. So-and-so has Alzheimer's, but his brain is talking through a computer. Isn't this wonderful? And of course they can play to your emotions because you feel bad for somebody that's born or somebody who gets one of these diseases neurologically. They don't tell you, of course, how they get the neurological diseases from the bath that they're giving you from the sky and the crap they're dumping in your food. But nonetheless, of course, people feel bad. But that's how they normalize this stuff. Ooh, modern medicine. Ooh, health passports. All this stuff will monitor you. We'll be inside your body watching your heart rate. Get your Apple Watch, your iFit, so you can see everything that's going on and you can burn calories and count them. Nobody sees the transitions. It's incredible. It's a humanity becoming one with tech. And we're there. We're at that point. Singularity is already here. It's just a matter of what they show you they're capable of doing. And they have to continue to normalize it. And as the world grows cold, and people continue to turn on one another, to despise one another because of the psyops that are being run on them, people become closer to technology, as crazy as it sounds. Look, growing up, I didn't think, somebody's in love with their Nintendo. Well, look at people with their phones now. What's the difference? They can't get off the phone. They're on Tinder, they're swiping, they're texting. They're constantly on it. And, some of you might constantly be on it, but there's a limit that you should be on it. There's a limit to how cold we grow towards one another when obviously they're doing it on purpose to divide us and bring in this tech to replace us. And it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's the truth. They've already run this out with cops. What do you think the military state's going to be? It's not just going to be, super soldier mind control puppets who are MK Ultra'd out of their mind, like in China. It's also going to be robots. And then they're going to say, look, the robot doesn't see skin color. The robot doesn't see gender. The robot just sees right and wrong. Huh? Yeah. And people will be like, yeah, let's replace humans. Let's get these robots in because, and then they'll just realize eventually what they've done. Maybe. They're so dumbed down already. They'll be convinced. They'll be like, now there's no more injustice. Now there's no more of this. Huh? You were just duped into the entire thing. And now you've given up your rights, and we've given technology that doesn't need to exist power over humanity. Yeah, sound frightening? Literally living in Terminator. So 7 years, they say, ladies and gentlemen. 7 years until crap hits the fan. But we already knew that because we already knew 2030. And again, Elon Musk was talking about 2025. That video clip is from a few years ago, but still, it's here. And now with the release, coming out, talking more and more about the Chat GPT, more and more people are like, oh, I don't know. Oh, and then they're convincing you. Or if you didn't see the video I did last week, where at the World Economic Forum, they literally want to read your brain. And people in the crowd, I know they're all puppets because they're at the World Economic Forum. It's not like you could buy a ticket at Ticketmaster to get in. They got security around the place. You can't even get a hotel room there. But, just even the notion of, hey, would you want your thoughts monitored 24/7? And they're like, yes, I do. And they're like, great, because you are data. That's what you are. I've said it for years. I've talked about it for years. The stuff that you put, they take. And it's not, everyone just automatically thinks it means, oh, I don't want to give out my email. I don't want to give out my address. No. They want your thoughts. That's why they monitor these social media sites, and they monitor behavior constantly. So Singularity, folks, you'll be hearing more and more about it, even from the mainstream media, because they need to normalize it. So the hive mind zombies out there will hear it, and they're like, that would be really cool. They're like, wouldn't it be great if you could meet your soulmate? And they're like, what? Yeah, because I don't know how to interact with people because I'm always on my phone, and my parents, raised me on, they just put a phone in front of me because, they didn't want to watch me or teach me anything. Oh, yeah. So I do want to meet, an avatar or a robot person or whatever. I want to have a girlfriend that's online, that's a chat GPT, for example. And people will be like, yeah. And then they'll tell you how great the data is as far as compatibility. And they'll just continue to work people into psychological ops until their heads explode like scanners. And that's where we're headed towards. I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're doing well. God bless all of you and your families.